guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to make some very super simple journal cards. So I am using printables, and I know I say this all the time. That's because of what that's what I predominantly have these days. But you can use scrapbook paper. You could probably even use wrapping paper. However, you're going to see how we're using these or how we're making these, and then you're going to see how, you know, you just have to do 1 or 2 extra steps if you were using something flimsy like wrapping paper. So I've got some offcuts here, and I've also got some whole sheets. So I will start, I think, with the offcuts. Then I've got a couple of smaller sheets, and then I've got obviously, you know, full-size sheets. So we'll another offcut in there. We'll start with the offcuts first, and then we'll kind of work our way up from there. So basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my sheets, folding them in to create our journal cards. Now, just want to decide which way round I'm better off with these. How I'm going to get kind of the maximum journal cards. Now, because my printer's not really printed borderless in 1 or 2 places, I need to be a little bit careful because it could look weird. Okay, so all I'm doing is folding in my paper, and then the back and the front are going to obviously be, you know, be the same, if that makes sense. So this one, I'll just cut this edge off that I've obviously already used, like that. Save this for something else. Heaven forbid that we would throw that away. And then just literally fold it over like that. And you'll see, obviously, you know, once we kind of get making these, how we're going to finish these off. But these are going to be just the easiest cards ever. Please excuse the back of this. Obviously, I had been printing my hearts on the back. Oh, sorry, I have not been saying which papers I have been using. So this is my Rich Damask. It's the second collection of the damask papers, and this is the light in the second collection of the damask papers. And this is the William Morris collection. This again is from the pale or the light second edition of the damask papers. Also, so is this, like that. Okay, and then this one here, this again is from the second edition of the rich or the dark damask papers. So that's all my offcuts. I've got then some other papers here, so we'll just kind of do 1 or 2 from, you know, non-offcuts, and just so I've got some different papers, because otherwise they're all, oh, that's an offcut. Look, they're all from the damask papers, which is probably a little bit boring. So yeah, let's do those. Let's put these out of the way. So this one, just want to be, yeah, hopefully a little bit mindful of how this is going to look when it's actually in use, but it won't really matter, to be honest, because it will be sort of covered, and you'll see that as we get making these. So this one, obviously, it's kind of pretty much a whole sheet, other than where it's not printed borderless right at the very end. So obviously I'll trim that down in a minute. And then, sorry, that was my documents collection, both of those. This is my roses collection papers, and again, we'll just fold this in half. Oops, like that. Okay, I'm just using my scissor handles as, you know, like a bone folder. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these down for what I would call journal card size pieces. And obviously, I'm going to get loads of different size pieces from here. So this one, for example, obviously my printer hadn't printed borderless, so I've got this sort of irregular piece. So I'm going to make this just a very large journal card, so that when I've made these, oh my goodness, talk about not cut this very straight at all. Let's just line it up with my grid lines. Oh my goodness. Yeah, gonna have to trim it in here. Yeah, so that when I've done these, I'm hopefully going to end up with lots of different size pieces, you know, not all tiny ones as they kind of appear at the moment. You know, appear like they're going to be just all tiny ones. Hopefully we're going to end up with a bit of a variety of sizes. So this one, again, just going to cut it down on the edge, because otherwise it would be very square. Again, cut that section off where it didn't print borderless. So I'm getting then, you know, a couple of big ones, a couple of small ones. Again, just cut this one down. We've got that border again like that. So, yep, just trim that down there. And then this one we'll just go in here like that. Just trim it across the top like that. Okay, and then we'll just very quickly do a couple here. You know, you could make these quite, you know, tall and narrow if you want, exactly as you want to make them, so that you're going to end up with, you know, lots of different ones to use. So like that. Okay, oh my goodness, like that. Okie dokie. So this is a fantastic way to use up, you know, any offcuts of, you know, scrapbook paper, for example, or, you know, if you've got, say, a digi kit that you've used for a journal and then you've just got, you know, 1 or 2 sheets left over, or 1 or 2 bits of sheets left over. This is a fantastic way to use those up. Now, what I was saying about if you were to use, say, you know, for example, wrapping paper or wallpaper or something like that, then obviously instead of folding them over, because you're going to end up with quite flimsy cards, is you would have to then back them onto something thicker. Well, you wouldn't have to, but, you know, personally I would back them onto something thicker, because I like, you know, quite a sturdy, robust journal card. But I mean, obviously, if you don't mind your pieces being a bit thinner, and, you know, obviously we all like different things, don't we? And I'm kind of all for more robust pieces because I'm quite a clumsy person. So if mine were very delicate and flimsy, I would probably end up damaging them. But, you know, if you are not as clumsy as me, you might be more than happy to have your pieces on more delicate, you know, thinner paper. But I love these because they're obviously producing really nice, thick, you know, thick, robust pieces. So, okay, nearly done. I'm sure this is probably like watching paint dry. Okay, now I'm going to glue all these together in a minute. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I can't speak today. I'm going to glue them all together in a minute, and you will see in a moment why I didn't just glue the pieces together first. Obviously, I could have just gone straight down. Actually, I'm just going to make a sort of taller one like that. I could have gone straight down and just glued the whole pieces of paper together before cutting them round. Now, the reason why I didn't do that is because when I then cut them, you know, into their little shapes like this, if I'd just glued randomly on the piece of paper, the chances are, you know, I might not have glue right to the edges. So I personally think it's probably better to just glue quickly, you know, once they're all cut to size. So, and again, all I'm going to do is glue nearish the edge, bit of glue in the middle, like that. I'll do 2 or 3 at a time and then squish them. So hopefully it's, you know, not too laborious. Okay. I like to just go around the edge and then in the middle, so that they're nicely glued everywhere. You know, if you just glue in the middle, you're going to have a problem, or, you know, you could potentially have a problem with your pieces not really being stuck around the edges. You know, your glue's unlikely to spread right to the edge. And if you just glue in the edges, you might find that your piece has like a sort of hollow kind of thing going on in the middle. I mean, again, it's not the end of the world, but just, I quite like to have the glue everywhere. Okay, so like that. Again, just squish these down. So I just go over them with my glue spreader, and then I've also got a dry wet wipe here, which I just then, you know, smoosh it down a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm using 3-in-1 glue, and the beauty of the 3-in-1 is if the glue kind of like smears onto your piece at all, if you rub it with your finger, the glue tends to be able to rub off. Now, obviously, as I've said this, I'm now finding it's not particularly rubbing off, but it should do. So again, just around the edge like that. Oops. Obviously, you don't have to go right up to the edge, because when you actually smoosh it down, that will, you know, spread it around for you. So like that. And so yeah, I mean, I think these are very, very quick and easy journal cards. You know, there's not too much in the way of, you know, overthinking, or, you know, too much in the way of decorating, which you will see when we get doing them. And it's just a brilliant way to use, you know, maybe all the bits and pieces. Oh no, I've dropped my glue spread on the floor. Hold on a second. There's not too much going on in the way of decorating. I'm going to try not to really overthink it and, you know, trying to dig out the perfect piece or anything. I'm just going to go with the flow of what's laying around, really. I have bought a little pack of my faux stamped images, and I've also got some to the side which I've just coffee dyed. So I will, of course, be using those. Have I glued these? No. But I'm really going to try and just, you know, not overthink it and use mainly the things that are just on the desk. So this is a really fantastic, you know, like desk clearing exercise, really. Which, I mean, who doesn't love to be able to just use bits that they've got laying around? You know, that just feels awesome, doesn't it? Because obviously at the end you may have a little bit of space. I mean, I've got to be truthful and say, no, I never ever really see any difference. Even when doing something like this, it still looks just as messy. But your desk might not be as terrible as mine, so you might well see a difference. Okay, so like that. This one, oops. Okay. Oh, that one's got loads of glue now stuck all over it. Oh my goodness, what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh, it's getting glue everywhere. It's because obviously my desk has now got all the glue that's being smeared out from the sides. It's all over the mat. So as I'm gluing down the next one, of course, all that's happening is it's picking up glue from the previous one. So there we go. Oh my gosh. Glue galore here. It won't really matter, because obviously, you know, if it looks an eyesore, I can always cover it up with things. So I'm not going to get myself too much in a state about it. I'm just going to, yeah, go with the flow, not getting too caught up and too worried about it all. So, okay. Right, we're coming to the end now, you'll be pleased to know. But I mean, look how many we've made here. So, I mean, I love nothing better than, you know, like a crafting session where we make tons of things. That feels so productive and such a brilliant achievement. And these are definitely one of those types of things that you can really kind of get ahead and, you know, really achieve quite a bit in a reasonably short amount of time. So yeah, hope that you're going to like them and, you know, feel inspired to make some of your own. And obviously, if you were using scrapbook paper, because before I had digis, you know, I did used to use scrapbook paper for these types of things. I can remember making journal cards like this for my very first couple of journals that I made. So definitely, you know, scrapbook paper works fantastically. Obviously, it's a good thickness, so you're going to end up with nice, you know, nice robust journal cards. My paper, just out of interest, you know, if you wanted to know, is 230, I think it is, GSM. It could be 250, but I think it's 230. It's a photo quality paper, or a photo paper, basically. So yeah, if you were kind of wondering what paper I'm using, it's much thicker than copy paper. Copy paper tends to be, oh my goodness, that's really smothered in glue, tends to be between 70 and 80 GSM. So if you picture kind of that type of thickness and then think this is like 250, it's, you know, it's quite a difference, isn't it? Okay. And then once you've got your pieces all glued, that's when the fun starts, because straight away we're going to get into, you know, tailoring our journal cards. Actually, there is one other step, which is all part of this kind of assembly, you know, not such fun and exciting process. So basically, obviously, because we've got decorative papers, you're going to want to do something with the back so as it becomes, you know, journalable, you know, instead of like a patterned paper. So that will be completely up to you. You can either stick something all over the back of here, or you could use gesso and just gesso over it. Either is fine. I don't probably have, you know, much of a preference really. I think either works absolutely fine. Just going to trim that down because, oh my goodness, that looks wonky as anything. Oh my gosh, what a terrible job I did of cutting this. Not good at all. My goodness. Right. Yeah, either is fine, to be honest. You could gesso these, or you could paint on them if you don't have gesso. Or you could just layer some paper on. So I'll show you kind of in a minute, you know, what I'm talking about. I would recommend, I know it's a little bit on the boring side doing these types of bits first, but I would probably recommend that you do the backs before you decorate the fronts. And the only reason I say that is because if you end up putting anything lumpy on the front, you know, if you had bling or flowers or anything like that on the front, it's just going to be a bit more difficult to actually get your paper to glue down nice and flat. So that's just a kind of tip really, is, you know, do all your boring bits first. If you forgot and you know, you decorated the front and then you thought, oh no, you know, I didn't glue some paper on the back for journaling on, no problem, just gesso or paint instead. You know, if it's now too lumpy that you won't be able to smooth down a piece of journaling paper on the back, just gesso or paint over it for your journaling space instead, and that's just as good. Okay, like that. Okay, nearly done. Oh, just 3 more left, so yeah. And then, you know, I think you're going to really like these because we're just going to be able to do very quick and very easy little finishing touches. And, you know, they're going to take on all different looks. So very quickly, you're going to get really a good mix. An abundance of things. Right, let's push that down. Now, you could make these even smaller than this. I've probably still made mine quite big. That's because I tend to make larger journals. Obviously, if you make smaller journals, then, of course, you know, make these like half the size, or, you know, maybe like 2/3 of this size or something. Again, tailor them to the sort of size journals that you are going to make, because there's nothing more annoying than you've made all these wonderful bits to put into your pockets, and then when you come to use them, you think, oh, everything's too big to fit into a pocket. And yes, I've done that loads of times. I mean, it's not the end of the world, because if that happens, you can, of course, then just paper clip it in instead of putting it into a pocket. So, you know, all these things are still perfectly usable and perfectly fine. But the, you know, the pain in the bottom about that is obviously you still then are going to have to make more things to stuff the pockets with. You know, if you've made all these hundreds of things and then they still, you know, there's not fitting in your pockets, the, you know, the nuisance of that is you're still going to then have to make things to put into your pockets. Right, so here I've just got this is kind of fly sheet, you know, like the opening page of a book. So it's quite thick. Again, you don't have to use something like this. You could use, you know, coffee dyed paper. I think I've got some here. Coffee dyed paper, whatever you like, really. Oops, nope, not that one. It's patterned on the other side. Whatever you like, something plain to be able to cover your pieces in. Let me see. What's that? No, that's right. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down and just fold it in like that. I probably can get away with even tearing it, not even cutting it. Okay, and then just whoops, you know, fold it into the size it needs to be. And that's all we're doing. That's going to be your journaling space on the back of your journaling card. So obviously decide which side you want to use, and then just, you know, cover the side that you're going to have as your journaling side. Some papers are going to be the same either side, and some you're going to have kind of more of a different look. So I'm just going to put that there. So I'm just going to quickly do that for a couple. So again, I've got another one of those larger ones here, so I'll just take that same piece that we just cut down and just tear that down to size. Okay. Like that. And then for my smaller ones, oh, look how annoying that is. I thought that was going to be just the right size. So let me just do a couple of my bigger ones still. I don't think I've got many more big ones left. Oh, I must have only done... Oh, no. There's another bigger one there. Oh, come on. They're all a bit stuck together now with the glue, unfortunately. So I'll just go in here. Let's take that down. Like that. Okie dokie. And then here. Okay. And then I'll just do one or two of the smaller ones as well, just so that we've got a few different ones going on. There we go. Okay, let's do a couple of different kind of coloured ones so that we've got just a little bit of, you know, different looks going on. So I do this one. Like that. Oh, perhaps I'll do a purple one as well. Okie dokie. And then, yeah, I mean, this, you know, this fly sheet stuff, it was just laying around on the desk from something else that I'd been doing. So, you know, just perfect to use for this project. So, again, just squish that up. Okay. Right, so then you want to obviously glue all of your journaling spots down. Again, super quick. And don't forget, you know, if you want to obviously use the gesso, then you could definitely do that here. You don't have to be using paper at all. And, you know, you might find that the gesso is quicker, or maybe it's just more up your street. There we go. It's that one. Let's bring in all of them quickly. So, I mean, we've just transformed, haven't we, those little bits of paper into really usable journal cards now. I mean, I personally think these are just, you know, perfect thickness to be used. Oh, look at that. I've got that. Whole edge was not, what do you call it? Borderless. Gonna have the same with this pale blue because I just saw it. But again, it doesn't matter because we'll probably ink these up anyway, might even trim them down. So, you know, just just go with it, and you know, don't worry too much. We're not striving for perfection. We're just, you know, we're just trying to make something that looks pretty. So it really doesn't matter too much. This one I might just cut down that edge a bit. Sometimes I quite like that little, you know, that little kind of curly edge where it's been torn out from the book. Okay. Yeah, I was making these the other day and I thought, oh, I'm going to come along and do a video for these because they're so quick and easy. And yeah, I've got quite a few now already in my stash. So I love that feeling. Absolutely love it. You know, once you've got a few things ready, it feels really productive. It's really chilly today, and I'll just say I'm filming ahead. I mean, I say this all the time, but yeah, I'm filming ahead. So if you live in the UK and you're looking out and it's, I don't know, bright sunshine, or who knows, maybe it's like snow, depending on when I actually load this video up. Yes, it's quite chilly here today. It shouldn't be, because it's the time of year where it shouldn't be, you know, cold. But yeah, I'm sat here wearing a couple of jumpers still, so it's obviously pretty chilly. Right, okay. And then this one. So yeah, as it happens, I've ended up covering the big ones more than the small ones, so that was a bit of a shame. It wasn't intentional, but that's just how it's panned out. So what I could do is, I think I've got some gesso behind me. I might just do one or two with the gesso, just to give you an idea of that, really. Okay. Right, so I've got some gesso sat here. So this brilliant, massive tub of gesso. It was gifted to me by the lovely Michelle, who runs our Facebook group. So thank you so much, Michelle. Try and keep it behind my desk, but sometimes I have to move it because it's quite a big tub and it might just, you know, get knocked over. So, oops, this is not quite glued down. Right, okay. So for the gesso, you can spread it with, you know, a brush, or I quite like to spread it with a wipe, so, or a tissue. In fact, I'm going to spread this, I think, with a tissue, because I think the wet wipe might be too wet and it will just wipe off. So I'm going to take just some tissue and I'm just going to go over there, just like that. Okay. Oops. Okay. So I'll just put these, you know, do one or two more, and then I'll just put them out the way to dry. Glad I've got the wet wipe now. Yeah, that wasn't for, you know, why I'd pulled that in, but actually it's working out quite handy to have it there. So we'll just go over this one perhaps. Okay. And obviously if you want to have 2 coats of gesso, you could. I'm not going to for these, but, well, unless of course when they dry they're not really providing sufficient coverage, in which case I'll have to have 2 coats, but hopefully I'm going to get away with just one. So let's just wipe the desk down again, otherwise I'm going to just end up with gesso stuck all over my, or smudged all over my pattern sides. So okay, let's take one of these really dark ones just to show that, you know, you can still use gesso on like even the dark ones. So yeah, I find the tissue makes quite a good coverage, or yeah, provides quite good coverage. I'm not great with gesso with brushes, to be honest, so yeah, quite like using the tissue. Okay, let's just do one more quickly with the gesso. Should we do one of those dark William Morris ones. Oh, have I done one of these? I might have to do 2 more. I wanted to hopefully get one in every pattern, so yeah, let's do this one first, just in case the print is coming up at all on the paper, you know, the ink. Just do the light coloured one first. Okay. And again, don't worry, obviously, if you get a bit of gesso on the reverse side, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Right. Okay. Not done so good there, wiping that up. Obviously, the gesso's getting to the point where it's kind of like smeared all over the table. Quite hard to cover it up now. Right, let's just do this side. Okay. And gesso's pretty fast drying. So as you can see, I mean, I've got it a little bit around the edge. I don't really mind that, to be honest. And you'll see, you know, once we get making the journal cards, that really is not going to be, you know, the be all and end all. Won't really matter. Right, let me just get another wipe and clear the table off, so I'm not just picking that up and smudging it all over my journal cards as I'm decorating them. Oh, try and clean it off my hands a little bit. Oh dear. No, it's not wanting to come off my fingers. Oh well. Right, okay, so we've got a bit of a clean surface now. Let's just pop this away. Oops. Oh, it's really fiddly to do the lid back up. I don't want to leave it like, you know, where it's going to be spilling out if it got knocked over. Right, okay. So we'll bring in a couple that we did, obviously the big ones that we've, oh no, I did do small ones as well with the paper. So I'll just bring these in quickly. So we'll turn them over obviously onto this side. Decide obviously which way up you want them, because some may be, you know, look better one way to the other way. So for example, a couple of these I've got obviously where it's not printed borderless, so I'm just going to go around those with my ink to disguise the non-borderless edges like that. In fact, I might just ink all of them up right now, and again, you know, up to you really whether you bother inking the fronts and the backs. Okay. Like that. Let's do this one. It's quite unborderless. Like that. Obviously, if you've got sort of bits where your edges aren't glued properly, you know, where you didn't go quite as close to the edges as you could have done, which, you know, I obviously haven't here, you can always snip them off afterwards. You could take these to the sewing machine and stitch around them. I'm probably not going to do that because I'm trying to make very quick and easy journal cards. And to be honest, if you have to then take them to the sewing machine, they won't be so, you know, so super quick to produce. But, you know, they would turn out beautiful. So definitely, you know, if you fancy taking them to the sewing machine, then do, because they're going to look absolutely yummy and lovely. But I'm just trying to keep these very quick, so I'm not going to do that, I think. So there we go. Right, and just ink the back a little bit just so it ties in with the front. Okay, so what did I bring along to decorate? I have got here some of my faux stamped pieces, so let's just bring in a couple of those. Now, I could have done with coffee dyeing these, if I'm truthful. So yeah, I should have coffee dyed these, but oh well, I forgot, to be honest. I didn't really give it any thought. These are small. I've printed these in small. I'm going to use that one that I've got there, but the other ones, I've got some larger pieces. So these faux stamped images, they are available in my Etsy shop. So I've got these ones which I coffee dyed just now, just before starting the video. So I'm just going to tear this down. It's still wet. Can you see? It's still very soggy from the coffee dyeing. Oh dear. Oh, nothing like using a bit of soggy paper. Yeah, definitely should have dried that before thinking I was going to be using it. But oh no. Right. So this one, what I might do is I might keep this edge straight. I know that probably sounds a bit weird, but to be honest, I quite liked the straight edge when I just sort of put it here. So yeah, I might just keep that straight edge and then just put it onto one of these. Now, which one do I like it? I think I like it on here, but I'm just going to take her down a bit in terms of height. Otherwise, I feel like I'm losing a bit much of the paper itself. You know, the pattern of the documents paper underneath. So there we go, like that. I mean, how gorgeous is that? So this one I'm going to have to coffee dye that, I think. So that's annoying. Okay, I'll just take this one. Oh my gosh, this is like soggier than ever, this paper. Oh my goodness. Let's just take her down a bit. Okay, yeah, that looks nice. Just got this little label saying Paris. So this paper had just been floating around with this, you know, full sheet of these faux stamped images. These are full size, and obviously the ones that aren't coffee dyed, they were printed to a page. But yeah, these are obviously good for these bigger pieces. So I might have something like that, or I might just have that on there. I also brought along my fairy tale words. So yeah, let's just take one or two of these bits. Oops. Oh, I mean, how lovely is that? Oh, this one, you shall go to the ball. Because she looks a bit like she's off to a ball, doesn't she? I think she does. Yeah, liking that. Let's just turn that down a bit more. Okay, yeah, like that. So this one, yeah, now I'm going to end up with this all soggy as well, like the other ones, because I'm just going to coffee dye it. Oh dear. Right, I'll just very quickly. Could have done with a much bigger brush. Look at my size of my brush, it's titchy. Oh gosh. I normally really do the coffee dyeing just with a tissue or a wipe, to be honest, but because it had the brush in here, I thought, oh, it's not very big, I'll just quickly do it with the brush. But yeah, it's not the best. Just going to put that onto my hot glue gun, because obviously that's very hot, so hopefully it will just dry that off quite quickly. Okay. Okay, right, same with her. Pop her on there. Hopefully she also will dry off quite quick. Okie dokie. Right, so yeah, for these, going to just quickly ink around the edges here. Oh, that was a mistake, wasn't it? Totally forgot how wet that was still. Now it looks really dark. Oh well, doesn't really matter, to be honest. Oops. Got lots of glue kind of clustered up there. Oh, just spotted this little label that's in the background, so I might as well just get rid of that off my desk as well. So I'm going to put that poking out behind her. So let's just have that there. Ooh. Like that. Okay. Oops. No, that's not my dry wipe. Oh gosh, where's my dry one? There we go. Okay, yeah, like the look of that. Smoosh that down. Okay, and then I might just do a rounded corner. Maybe here. Might just do one rounded corner. I know that probably sounds a bit weird, but yeah, we don't have to have them everywhere, do we? And then we were going to have once upon a time. Maybe have that up there now, so. Okay, just quickly glue my lace down to sort of hold it still, and then I'm going to hot glue this down just because obviously it's a, you know, got a lot of lumps and bumps to go over. So yeah, just glue that down there like that. I mean, what a gorgeous journal card is that? So just ink that corner up. Isn't that so lovely? And that took like no time whatsoever to put that together. So let's do this one. Oh, forgot again about that soggy paper. Oh dear. Okay. For this side. Yep. Just see if I've got anything else laying around that we could just utilise as well. I've just got one of my bow printables, so yeah, should we have that somewhere? Maybe there or something, or maybe actually I'm now thinking she might look better on here. Yeah, prefer her on this one, so yeah, let's pop this one down here. Honestly, don't you just love things that come together so quickly like this? I really do love it. Nothing makes me feel better than things that just come together quickly. Okay. And this, I'm just wondering whether I've got any lace floating around. It's very white. And obviously because it is white, but I don't know whether that's too white, that it's kind of, yeah, a bit, you know, not really got any place on this. Let's just see. Well, I think it's quite nice. It sort of brightens it up a bit, doesn't it? Pop that down there. Okay. Oops. Hold on 2 seconds. That's just my phone. Hang on. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. So yes, I've been out now and I've met my mum and dad for a coffee and now I'm back. So yes, we had just done this one. We've not rounded the corner or anything on this one, so let's quickly do that now. I mean, I'm not saying that's essential, but yeah, it kind of just adds to the overall look, doesn't it? Now, do we want 2 corners? Should we round 2 on this one? Just so they look a little bit different. So again, just kind of ink that up a little bit around there. There we go. And I mean, you know, you can really do anything at all on these cards. I mean, these two look sort of similar, but you can do absolutely anything. So let's have a look at a couple more. So I did just dig out a couple of things that are potential, you know, potential things to use. So I've got these little pieces. These are from, oh, I can never remember whether it's Victorian Gallery or Victorian Springtime. I'm so sorry. I launched the 2 things at the same time, and I know I've said this loads of times. it's a little lesson for me there. Don't ever launch two things with very similar names at the same time, because you're never ever going to make a distinction between what's what. So yeah, anyway, I think they're quite lovely, and I thought that these would look possibly quite nice just on these, just as they are. And I've got obviously the ones that we gessoed as well, which, as you can probably see, the gesso is now completely dry. So, you know, they're a nice base, aren't they, to be able to actually journal on. So, you know, it works quite well. Oh, maybe on that one. Yeah, maybe on the pink. So we'll just do these couple on here. So again, we've got, you know, a couple of different looks. So for these, again, might round the corners. So we'll just do 1, 2. You know, I don't think they necessarily always need the corners rounding, but like I've been saying, sometimes I like to just round one corner, 1 or 2. Oh, that's not rounding at all. I think my thing's probably full up, you know, the punchies, or it could just be it's quite thick. It could be a combination of the two things. Right, I think it's full. Hold on, let me just empty that out. Okay. Come out, come out. Oh, it's really full. I can barely actually get the pieces out. It's so stuffed full, they're not wanting to come out. Right, there we go. And then this one. Okay, that's better. Right, so we've rounded those corners. Let's quickly ink these up a little bit. Okay. Was I having this on the purple one? I actually can't remember now. Yeah, on the purple. Again, there we go. And this one on the pink one. I'll just ink around this pink one as well, make it look nice and sort of grungy. And obviously you can gesso over you can ink over the gesso so as it looks less, you know, less white or less gessoed. So yeah, just ink over there, and then you've got a lovely surface for journaling. So actually, oh, that one's not been gessoed. Oh, that's the only one that I chose to do that had been gessoed. So obviously these ones, again, we could just take some lacy trim or something. So, oh look, I had that bow there. I was going to use that bow on that last journal card, but maybe I'll use it here instead. Or maybe that lace on the pink one. So yeah, now got this blue. I wonder whether it might be a bit too bright, but let's give it a try. Oh my goodness, love how that looks. So do we want it kind of more, you know, over to one side, or yeah, maybe like that. Don't know for this one, do we want to have just scouring around the desk to see if there's anything else. Got some black lace here. Wonder whether we could do something there with the black. Hold on. Just tear that down. Oops. I always like to tear that header piece off. And when I say header piece, I mean in this case, I mean the gathering, you know, the bit that's caused it to be gathered. So, yeah. Okie dokie. I don't know whether this is going to look good. Might look like House of Horrors. And sometimes think that with purple and black, you know, they can look quite Halloween-y. Oh, I think that looks quite striking. Okay, right. So I'm going to just glue these onto the bits. Oh gosh, look. Oh, what was I going to use this lady for? Can't remember now. Oh well. This is why you shouldn't really stop your video, because then you come back and you're like, oh, what was I doing? I think actually I was going to have this on here, which now I'm like, oh, perhaps we should go for that still. No, I want to do the purple because I think it would look different. So Right, my glue's only just gone on again, so it's not that hot yet. Right, let's put that one down there. Okay. Okay, right, and then let's just get some butterflies. Maybe, oh, I don't know now. Maybe one, let's try that one. Or maybe the blue, actually. Let's have a look. Right, let's try this one. I can just hear Bo. She's running up and down the stairs. She's obviously going down. I leave her kind of dry food out all day, you know, just so she can kind of graze as she likes. I have to say, she doesn't really like her dry food, you know, like the dry dog biscuit type food. She doesn't really like that. So I feed her like some tinned dog food at night, but the other food is out all day for if she's starving, you know, if she's hungry. But yeah, she's not loving it. Or, you know, she never loves it. So, but she's up and down. So I assume she must be hungry today. Because she's obviously, you know, she is actually eating it today. Well, I assume that's what she's doing. She might not be. Now, we could have a little bow on there. Again, it's probably not really the right colour bow. I've got this flower. Oh my goodness, talk about take over the whole thing. Yeah. Right, let's have that down there. Okie dokie. Might just see if we want to have any words or anything like that. Oh, now I can't find the words either. Oh, all disorganised since I've got back. I do have a, oh no, I was going to say a book plate, but yep, that was the wrong colour as well. Got some purple ones. I'll just take this one. Just going to tear this down. Okay, right. Oh, that's really nice, isn't it? So yeah, I've torn that out of the book plate and we'll just pop that one down like that. Might even have that in the corner here. Looks cute, doesn't it? Again, complete nonsense using hot glue for popping that word down, but it just, you know, it's nice and quick then, and it's definitely stuck down. So that's that one. Right, let's do this pink one because I feel like this is going to look a bit different. Okay. And then, oh, I've got some more book plates. Hold on. Oh my goodness, how lovely are these going to look? Cut that one out. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that could go anywhere, to be honest. Everywhere I'm holding it, I like that. So let's just punch a couple of holes in here. I've just decided that punching the holes is actually easier than trying to use my pokey stick, because when I use my poker tool, what happens is it doesn't really poke a hole big enough for the stems of the brads. So it's actually easier to just use the crocodile. So let's do one. Oops. And oh, come on. I never should have mixed these in, because all that happens is the tiny ones go straight to the bottom and then the bigger ones stay on the top. So obviously then trying to find them is, you know, the small ones is near on impossible. Right. Okay. Oh, do you know, when I went out, it was actually quite warm outside. It had been freezing all day. And since I've got back, the sun's gone in completely. In fact, it was just looking like it was about to rain. So, yeah, I had the best of the weather whilst I was out. Although, who knows, perhaps it had been nice all morning, but it was just cold in my house. I'm not sure, but anyway. Certainly not missing anything now. Deteriorated again. Okay. So I just like to always cut my stems, my legs down from the brads, because they're always like really long. And then they just sort of potentially could hang over a bit. So yeah, I like to just cut them down a bit. There we go. Don't know where I like that best, to be honest. I like it everywhere, so yeah, I'm just going to go for it. Let's just pop it on there. There we go. How pretty does that look? So I'm sure that you get the idea anyway. So, you know, you've got all different things that you could, you know, could use. I'm just going to kind of just lay a couple out, because obviously I'm running out of time now. But I'll just lay a couple out to kind of give you some ideas. So obviously these botanicals, I've got this frame, you know, you could do something like that. That is a gorgeous journal card. I've got a perfume bottle here. You could put, you know, perfume bottle again, you know, maybe marry it up with something else if it's, you know, the journal card's quite big. And then that kind of fills it up a little bit. Got this little piece here, this from my Great Expectations. You could put that on something. Oh, I mean, even that looks pretty, doesn't it? Got here little flower. I mean, you know, you could really be very different and go for quite different looks. So, you know, I hope that you've got some inspiration there, and this has given you some ideas of like super simple journal cards. And yeah, just have fun with them. Obviously you could add tabs and things like that, but I don't think they really need them, and obviously we're just trying to keep them very simple. But I hope you feel inspired. I hope you have fun if you decide to make some. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks then. Bye.